Wondering how your mindset affects your life? How to bring more energy into your business and life? Millions of people around the world ask these same questions daily. You are in the right place. Learn practices that will help give your life the meaning and success you've been searching for. Welcome to the Charge Podcast, teaching you how to create habits around real goals every day. Practical life advice from those who made it. Here's your host, Gary Wilbers.
Do you struggle with being negative? Most people struggle with being negative. Being positive takes action. Using simple positive actions will allow you to win each day. Being negative is a discharge in three key areas. Number one, your mindset to achieve your goals. Number two, your influence on self and others. And number three, your ability to learn and grow. Implementing simple positive actions into your life will allow you to win each day. Being positive takes action. So let's work to be positive. To receive a weekly video email from me on one simple positive action, subscribe to the series by going to chargepodcast.com to get the link to register today. Life is short, so why live your life by default when you can live your life by design? Make it a great day. Welcome, Chargers. We're glad to have you again this week. Can you believe it's the end of the second quarter and it has flown by like all quarters do? Can you believe the half of the year is up and we are progressing into the second half of 2022? So the question I've got to ask you, are you getting the things done and the goals that you've set for yourself? Are you accomplishing those? Well, that's the question you have to ask yourself, because if that's the case, I am going to share with you today. I'm your podcast host, guest, and everything today, because I want to share a philosophy with you that I've learned over the years in using my full focus planner. And that's why I became a certified pro, because it makes a difference in what you get accomplished. And it's been a great quarter for me, and I want it to be a great quarter for you in the third quarter. So let me share this with you. So as we get started, I want you to think about this philosophy. Really think about it for yourself. Since it's coming up on the last day of the quarter, what is your game plan to prepare for the next 90 days to achieve more than you did this quarter? Now, when leaders change habits, they start to doing the right things and they focus on what matters the most. So the question are you doing what's most important? So that becomes a key to be able to get things accomplished. And what I found out is I set yearly goals, but I break them down in the 90-day chunks. And do you realize that's like 12, 13 weeks? And when you do that, you take a piece of that chunk out, and then at 12 to 13 weeks of what you want to get accomplished. I think I told you I was running a sprint triathlon this last quarter, and I was training for that. I've accomplished that goal in the second quarter. It was in the middle of June, and my time wasn't perfect, but you know what? I accomplished the goal because I did the training to be able to make that happen. There's other goals that I set too, but they become smaller fragments. Ultimately, it's my major health goal that I'm trying to attain. But by having these little incentives in 12 and 13 week sprints, it allows me to accomplish something within that instead of just the big goal. So the couple things I want you to think about, all this is broken down into, I am a full focus planner, certified pro, and I share this with people because I love still the written version to be able to write things out, put it in my book and have it there and tell myself what I need to do today. I still use my calendar for my on my phone, and I still use my email to schedule things and all that side of it. But this gives me a system to be able to look at and say, what am I accomplishing? Just like this podcast today is one of those reasons I set this up. And I'm doing this is because I wanted to share this with you today. So this is scheduled in my planner as a time that I set for that to be able to make that happen. So when you look at those 90-day sprints, what you want to do is the first thing you want to do is you want to review your yearly goals. And for a lot of people, I have something called the forward visioning statement. It's a 3-year plan, basically, that I have. But I review those and look, where am I at? What did I want? When I come to 12/31/22, what do I want to accomplish? So that's the first thing. And then the second thing you do is you've got to decide on 1 to 3 goals professionally and personally, I have some professional as well as personally that I would like to achieve in the third quarter. Now, they're broken down from my yearly goals that I just reviewed. So what's something that's very important that I need to accomplish? I know one of the things that I have on my third quarter goal is to write a keynote, basically a speech that I can share with business owners about my mastermind that I'm doing and how that affects them and will make a difference for them. So that is one of my big rocks, but one of my big goals over these next 12 to 13 weeks that I have. So you want to think about those key projects maybe that you would like to complete. In the personal side, what are something personally that you want to accomplish? Maybe in the area of exercise, or maybe in the area of eating, or maybe with your spouse, or maybe with your kids. What are those areas? And then, of course, write them out in the SMARTER method. The SMARTER method is a full focus method, Michael Hyatt process, very similar to the SMART method, but it's basically specific, measurable, actionable, and then relevant, and then time bound, of course, but exciting. And then that last R, I'm going to forget it now. Wow, how you do that, Gary? Realistic. So that becomes the SMARTER method. So break it down in that framework of the SMARTER method, because you still want to know what are you going to accomplish and make it in that SMARTER method. And then the next thing I do is, I'm a big believer, and full focus is too, in what they call daily rituals. And we have these daily rituals that we set up to be more successful. And you've heard this on the Charge podcast. You know, one of the things I ask is every client, I ask, Charge, create habits around real goals every day. What's one habit do you think's led to success in your life? They always say a morning ritual. So that's the first ritual. But also, how about a Workday startup ritual? So when you get to the office, instead of just doing 10 things, maybe it's your planning that you do. Maybe it's not looking at your email, getting your first major project done. But what's your Workday startup ritual? And then I would recommend a Workday shutdown ritual. One of my Workday shutdown rituals is to try to clean up my email. So when I leave, I have that kind of cleaned up. Does it happen every day? No. But most days I'm able to get that accomplished. And then the last one is some sort of evening ritual. And I know on my evening ritual, I've been doing some exercises that I have for my back because I have some lower back pain. But the other thing I want to add to my evening ritual is also that gratitude side. And then the other thing that I want to add is more stretching. So that's going to be my third quarter goal in that area. So you're reviewing those daily rituals or creating them of what you want those daily rituals to be in morning ritual, Workday startup, Workday shutdown, and evening ritual. And then ultimately, the next step that you're going to do is you're going to review and decide on what they call an ideal week. This is a concept by Michael Hyatt again in the full focus planning system. And what you do is look at your week and what do you want to plan out in your ideal week? So you set up that 3 times a day that you check email versus all the time. And this can be a drain on what you can accomplish. Your major projects, you put in there some Q2 planning that's from Franklin Covey, where you have some block time to get things done. One of my big block times is on Tuesday mornings from 9 to noon. I have blocked out to do my creativity, do some of my writing, do some of those activities. And then I have another day on Thursday that I have blocked out on certain times to be able to accomplish certain things. So you set up what you want your ideal week to be versus I just come to the office and I do whatever I need to do. No, you block that time on your calendar for what matters the most to you. And then the last item I would tell you, create your weekly plan for the next week. And if you get the full focus planner system, and I'll have the link that you can get in the show notes if you want to learn more, because I'm going to be doing a class in the third quarter that I'd love you to join me in September, and I'll show you how to use it. But the thing is, you could get the planner system for yourself and just follow it through. It has a quarterly preview, and of course, I'll be following that. But I know most people don't have it, so I'm not pushing you to do that. But you want to review where you're at and then get the next part. So the next thing, before you get started, get this done before you go on your July 4th holiday weekend and plan for your next week. So when you come back July 5th or 6th or whenever it is, that you're ready to hit the ground running because you've got a weekly plan in place. And I'm a firm believer in weekly planning and daily planning. Those are 2 things that will take your productivity to the next level. So now that you have a plan for the next 12 weeks, remember, review your plan each week. Put the actions behind what's most important for you to get done for you and your company to keep things moving forward. And when you do that, that makes a big difference, because what happens is without a productivity system in place, you will continue running on the hamster wheel of life, putting out fires and being unable to accomplish your goals. So just imagine this. Imagine this. Using a system like the full focus planning system to focus on what matters the most to you so you can achieve your goals, your dreams, and your ambitions. So remember, most people struggle with busyness and distractions if they don't have the productivity system in place. But with this training that I've given you today, it will allow you to create a clearer vision, align your priorities to achieve your mission. When leaders change habits, they start doing the right things and focus on what matters the most. So I hope that helps you today, and I hope that makes a difference. If you have more information, please reach out to me. We're going to put a link to the Full Focus Planner in the show notes. That'll be at chargepodcast.com. If you have any suggestions about the podcast, please let me know. Please rate and review the podcast if you would. Please help us continue to spread the word, because we keep growing our podcast each time, but it's because of you telling someone else, or sharing maybe this podcast with 3 other people, and then they become exposed to the Charge podcast. I hope you've had a wonderful second quarter, but let's get geared up for that third quarter and be ready to knock it out of the park and make great things happen. Remember, a quarter is only about 13 weeks. So what are you going to do to make it most effective? It's about planning for it and then going out and taking the actions to make it happen. We've got a great lineup of guests in this third quarter. So come back, because next week we'll have another guest, and we've got some great guests lined up. I've done some pre-recordings to get all set up for this quarter. And I'm telling you, we've got a great lineup of people that's really going to help you charge in your business and life. Make it a great day. I'll see you next week.
This podcast is ended, but your life doesn't just stop. To continue your inspiring journey, head over to chargepodcast.com and access all the tools and resources mentioned on today's show. If you enjoyed this episode, consider sharing with somebody who may also benefit from the advice provided. That's chargepodcast.com. Until next time, charge in business and life.